Good day, everybody. Brian here from quantlabsnet.com. And this video is going to be a lengthy video, possibly, so I'd watch this in its entirety, just to give you the new everything brought together over the last year or so of work, and just to show you how good it's going to get. All right, so number one, let's start talking about um, how we get to the best performing markets in the futures and options. So in here, I posted this a few days ago in my elite programming group. In there, what you'll find is, let me just pull it up here. Um, what you'll find here is all the detail history of all the best performing instruments or strategies for particular instruments. Okay. So here's just one example. This is regarding euro. So this is all at what the high frequency trading shops do. So what I'm showing you here, everything's generated by AI. Okay, so for euro, as an example, high frequency trading shops, there's a lot of secretive data that they use. Um, all the different technique, satellite images and blah blah blah, the formulas, the quant, all that. So I've done this for everything what I'm about to show you in general. So this is all the nitty gritty quant stuff that I'm able to do. So if you hop into my uh, now, I do have the code available for my very pricey Quant Elite membership. I just raised it more than double. It was successful already is. I just doubled it as of today. I'm not going to mention about the price, but that's really targeted towards trading firms. And this is why it's very valuable now. So what we want to focus is purely on process. So when you look at what I've talked about numerous times about um, the Streamlit applications where it will do the uh, automated back tests for you. So let me show you some examples here. I know as a synopsis, I did talk about my news feeds and how they're being very beneficial for me. So I'll just pull up yesterday's snapshot for the day and what it thought was the best looking uh, over the next day or so of assets and instruments that look really good. So let me just pull that up for now. And this is all fairly new. I've never shown this before. It's very detailed. So in this app, what we've got here is the outlook for what it looks like over the next month. Okay. So it's gone through 12 strategies. It's going to look at all the different, and this is all pulled down from the news feeds. And using AI, I'm able to generate the analysis and be able to generate the code, which is here in the Streamlit. So it's giving me all the projected movements in the future of what to happen just from news feeds alone. Okay, this is pretty incredible. So what it's saying it could be a gold momentum put spread hedge, silver squeeze momentum, and trend following multi-asset. Okay, and then that would be CL, GC, Euro, ES in the main market, and it's all systematically driven. So some of these other ones for the silver might be trend following and so on. And then that gives you an overall synopsis of pretty well everything. Okay. Um, so I can also say, okay, I only want maybe a two Sharpe ratio analysis. So again, it adjusts for that on a Sharpe ratio and analyzes that for this. Now, this is the type of general what it's recommending, but what I'm going to show you is even more startling. Okay, so here's the walk forward analysis, does the overall strategy. Now, this is all theoretical. It's not using any data whatsoever, just basing it upon general news right across the board, all the major news outlets to the independents to chat forums. It's just basically measuring sentiment over a 24-hour period. Okay. So here you can see all the different walk forward analysis. Also gives me a risk metric as well. Okay. This is pretty powerful stuff. And if you looked at the price of my Quant Elite, you'll know why I'm charging what I'm now charging. And this is just for one day, I'd like to remind you. Okay. So let's get to the more exciting stuff. So what I've done is this code will be posted for all my elite members later today, just so they know. Um, you can see here I've gone. Let me just show you the Streamlit apps that I've built out with precise combination of deep quant analysis I showed you in that group in the group for the elite programming whatever. These are the different dashboards. I'm going to show you two of them. Okay, I'm going to show you, let's say, Bitcoin and Euro, just to show you how it looks. So again, these are all and you can see here I've got data as well. This is all hourly data from Rithmic, so it's not like theoretical data. This is like back-tested data or downloaded data from Rithmic for the last month, couple of months, depending upon the volume of that particular instrument. So here, what I've done is I've got a back test for, let's say, the current situation of Bitcoin. Okay, this is the exciting part. So as it loads up, what it will do is it will measure out all the different strategies here that are available. Let me see here. Actually, it's not part of this app, but I'm going to load in the file, the raw file from yesterday. So this is now micro Bitcoin, hourly data generated yesterday. Okay. So it's now automatically doing the back tests for you. Pretty powerful. And some of these Streamlit apps take a while to do the back test. Okay. So I'm just showing you some of the easier ones. So here, so what you're looking at here, this is the amazing part when it comes to AI. Here are all the different types of strategies that that document I showed you that does all the quant analysis. It breaks it down into coding, and then we're able to measure which strategy out of all of them, AI generated again, will give me the best forward looking from past data um, based on return, CAGR, Sharpe ratio, and so on. Typically, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for either uh, Sharpe or annual return. So if I'm getting an annual return with the basic state of Bitcoin in the last year, I'd be pretty happy with, because you got to remember 2025 was a losing year for Bitcoin. But you can see here with the funding rate, it's giving me 15%, CAGR at 4.37. So that's just alone on Bitcoin. Okay. So here's all the different comparisons. So here is the overall comparison between everything. Okay. So here you can see the blue is buy and hold. And for every one I done, I purposely in the prompt asked for uh, the the buy and hold as a comparison. So when you see here, we have this one in green, which is the funding rate. Okay, so that measures here, as I showed you in this prior table, that funding rate is the best strategy type to use. Okay, so here I can look at, well, overall, what is my uh, drawdown? Now, for Bitcoin, annually, Bitcoin max drawdown can be uh, much higher. Okay, so max drawdown negative 25% on a super volatile instrument like Bitcoin with the performance is giving. That's a pretty high reward comparative to other instruments, not very good. But for Bitcoin itself and for this particular strategy, this is pretty good. So you can see here it's 25. Oh, I'm sorry. This is on the buy and hold. I forgot about that. Okay. So here we can get a visual representation on the overall um, performance on the buy and hold strategy for Bitcoin. So here, if I pull up the best performing, the funding rate, okay, let's see what it pulls up. So again, if you're doing the automation for, let's say, a full year, this is the performance we get on the funding rate. So we can get a 15% return. Okay. Look at the max drawdown compared to the buy and hold. Negative 5.33. That's well within your tolerance. So if you ran this strategy in the futures and options market just for the whole year and have a certain amount of capital exclusively for this strategy, you would have got in a very bad year for Bitcoin 15% with a CAGR 4.37. That's pretty good. Win ratio at 20%. So, you know, I could look up all of the available detail on how that works. So, um, yeah. So, as I said, that's pretty good. Okay. So, the other thing is with the hourly data, we're going back 2, 3 months. Okay. So that's not bad. Um, with hourly data. So about 3, 4 months back. All right. So, there's that. All I really care about these particular Streamlit apps is what is the optimal strategy for me. Okay. So let me show you in my documents here. So here I've got new strategy clients that were developed, again, courtesy of AI, for these scenarios. So I've got one I just created, ready to go, trade, funding rate with exclusively Bitcoin. I'll show you that in a little while. This is all built in C Sharp now. Okay. So again, strategy funding rate, I built that now. So it's all there. I'm just showing you the workflow to get me to why I'm using these particular client strategies. And as I already proven to myself, what I've talked about up until the last number of weeks, up until now, the C Sharp client server model architecture works really good with the Rithmic market data and order execution. Okay, so let's go back to our Linux here. Now, this is of course in Linux in a WSL. So out of here, I'm just going to show you one more, so you can see how I have exclusive for BTC, silver, oil, gold, and did I say silver, euro as well. So you'll notice here we're not dealing with any equities as it stands, any U.S. indices, because they're just not. They probably already topped out for sure. So let me show you one more of these. Okay, so I'm going to show you the euro. Okay. Now, if you know in the headlines, the US dollar has been falling. So, one of the stronger ones based upon volume in the futures market, available on the CME, euro is a strong currency to trade against the US dollar. So, here's all the spiel about the whole 9 yards. So, let me pull up that data here, right here. Again, hourly data. So it's pretty fast. Some of these Streamlits are very slow at loading in data and doing the auto backtest because of the amount of data. Some of the data is extreme, like in oil as an example. But here with the euro, it's pretty quick. So you can see here we got all the different now strategies specific on the best performing strategies listed in that quant document or a group document I processed. Okay, so which one's the best? So we know historically buy and hold was the best performing. But we also know that the volatility breakout is starting to perform. Annualized return 2.72, and along with all the regular stats here. So again, as what I've done is I purposely put in the buy and hold. So here's your buy and hold on the euro dollar. How far back? So this is going now back to January 2024. So again, depending upon how the data is accessible for each of those CSVs, uh, you're going to get a different period of how far back the auto back test is done. And notice I'm saying now auto back test. You don't have to blow your brains out here to do this manually. You can now do it automatically, and I've said that for months. That AI is now very capable. Give it a data set like the CSV I just loaded in of data, market data, and you can see it's very quickly able to do the back test for you. Okay, that's how far along we are. So you can see here in the particular moment, here, January 22nd, and today's the 29th, you can see that this volatility breakout might start to perform better. Okay. So I can run these type analysis, the complete analysis that I'm running anytime I want. Um, but the point here is to understand what we're doing here is we are running the most up to date, calibrated backtest set of strategies to work with. Um, and I'm still new at this, so I don't know how often I'm going to have to calibrate these, but these are the top performing instruments based upon what I showed you from the new stuff. It's a lot to take in, I understand. And the good thing about these kind of videos is that you're able to rewind them when you need to. So you can see here that the volatility breakout, um, this one right here in black, is starting to kind of potentially, so we might be getting a good time to get into the euro uh, on the futures market. Okay, so again, all of this is 100% generated by AI, and the total time it took me to do this took me no longer than a day and a half. But now I've got this process down, this workflow. It could take me literally a couple hours to get from A to B to get it done. Okay, so here, as I said, we've got now with the euro starting to outperform the dollar. Okay, so here's the performance on the buy and hold itself. Okay, going all the way back to that July 2024. Total return 8% annualized, or well, total return annualized return at 3.9%. Max drawdown is well within our 15% max drawdown, and a pretty good win ratio at 50%. So now let's check out what the volatility particulars are for the volatility breakout. Okay, so it's going to load up. Yeah. So here, this is just starting to prove itself potentially. Okay, so we have 2.7% return, annualized, max drawdown again, pretty good. Win ratio is not bad. But I'm starting to think just right here that this strategy will outpace the buy and hold. Okay, so you can do all these matrices. You can go hearts to content based upon what is generated here. Okay, but each outcome of each prompting of these is going to give you different results, just so you know. But to be honest, all I really care is to know what is the best strategy to go with moving forward. So as I said, we're working with this volatility breakout. And when you go back to my document here, you can see here I've got now a particular strategy called volatility breakout. Okay. So I've already designed that as well. I'll show you that later. All right. So this is pretty powerful stuff. Okay. So in here, I'll give this to all my elite later today. We've got gold, we've got oil, we've got silver, Bitcoin, euro, and whatever else. Okay. So that's all back tested. We know every single strategy to go with. So let me show you what ended up. This is what ended up. So for Bitcoin, we have the funding rate strategy, which performed the best. For silver, now for silver and gold, it's really unique. We'll just say that the buy and hold since the fall has outpaced all the automated strategies listed. Okay. But if you just went with a buy and hold, you'd be doing pretty good. Now, as opposed, the next best systematic strategy to go with is a volatility surface. For silver and for gold, we have dynamic delta hedging. Okay. So again, we've built out new C# clients on those strategies. Okay. So they're all ready. And then the OFI momentum for oil and the volatility breakout for the euro. Okay. So that's all fine and good. So now let's go to our windows. So this is the entire project. Okay. Now I can't, I could probably release this minus the Rithmic calls for both the market data and the oil and the order execution. Because again, I keep saying I can't break the the terms of the Rithmic API terms of service. Maybe one day I might be able to put this out as an example, but take out all those calls and just leave in stub code. So everything else would be there minus the actual calls to your, we'll call it provider. I could probably build this for interactive brokers, because then I'm not breaking um, any any uh, any terms of service there. I could do it also in Python, convert it all. If I want to do it in Python with interactive brokers, I'm not limited. But the thing is, I am limited on execution. Okay, for the smaller accounts, this might not make a much difference. But in the comments, if you're interested in the interactive brokers option, let me know. I might be able to work something out. I just want. I'm one of the reasons I'm doing this long form video is just to see what people want. So if you're doing interactive brokers, you want to see this type of option, let me know. Okay, because it can be done, and I can include the market data, and I also can include the execution as well. It just wouldn't be for Rithmic, but it's kind of like for interactive brokers. But I think that would be a lot more expensive as a solution. One thing I'll notice is that people will do these group buys and then share everything when I don't want that. That's why it's expensive as it is. This kind of service is available pretty well for trading firms, like big trading firms that can afford the fees. That's who it's targeted for. Anyways, but that's an option there. Okay. So I put in each of the client code now in the client projects. Very simple way to run it. So I have uh, the actual client, and then I ask for here. It's going to ask for the exchange that of the instrument you're interested in, the actual instrument itself, or you could do the contract of the future contract as well. This right here would be your size of your uh, contract that you want to trade. So you could do one, you could do 100. It doesn't matter. But hopefully you see the versatility that this overall architecture has. And yeah, it's in C sharp, but again, I've talked about in the last few weeks why I'm choosing C sharp over C++ because I have to stay on Windows. Okay. And then the last parameter here is the important one is the check interval on minutes. So I can tell that particular client strategy only to check 5 minutes of the market, 15, an hour, 24 hours, whatever, but it's in minutes. And I do that because what it comes back to what I mentioned about if you're going to go high frequency trading, unless you have a an architecture or sorry, an account that's enough to pay out your commission fees when you are profiting, if you're doing things at a low level, that's not feasible. So I've added this extra layer to control the speed. And if you were on my last stream, you would know that I did say it might for smaller retail traders, it might be better off to slow down your trades. So that's what I put in here to do that. I do that on purpose. And you have the total flexibility to leave that out and go high frequency trading. And at the same time, you can do, check every 5-10 minutes, hour, a day. Who knows? It depends what you want based on this one particular strategy. And you can change that for every type of strategy you want to run. And with the same strategy, you can run that differently against other instruments as well. Okay. So it's very flexible. Okay. So that's pretty powerful in itself. So from here, I'm going to show you this right here is the overall server. Now, this is where it gets very confusing. I've already done a test on uh, on my my how on the high frequency trading level. Can this type of architecture withstand and stay alive over a 30-hour period? And it was a yes. I did a blog post on that, of course. But this is the server. I've gone over numerous times on the architecture of this because this is the gateway between each client, client program, you could call it, or strategy, connects into this. And then this is the interface through the server that will um, accept market data and do all the execution with Rithmic as well, and talk to each and every strategy that connects into this through the Redis message bus using the pub sub pattern. So that works really good. Okay, so that's all cool. Okay, so that's a server. Okay, um, so let me show you the build process. This is really lengthy here for the amount of projects I have. We have about with everything about about 9 projects now, and it's going to grow. So I'm trying to figure out how to maintain this, keep it optimal, and to keep my sanity as well, maintaining all this here. So here are all the projects. So we have here the architecture of it's pretty simple. Nothing's really changed, just added and updated. So we have the core Rithmic server I mentioned, and then each and every single type of client strategies. So these were the original ones, the VWAP, the OU, MACD, RSI, and then I've added the new ones here that I've talked about already with the funding rate for maybe Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum only. I don't know. So let's check out some of the client strategies. So this one's uh, connected. Okay. It's checking, I believe, every 5 minutes. Yeah, so it's checking in every 5 minutes as well. And I can just run that. And this is the funding rate with the Bitcoin of the upcoming future contract. One contract, check every 5 minutes. And that's it. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, I can show you another one. In this case, we are dealing with another client strategy. Let me just see here as an example. Um, Let me think. I don't know. Okay. So I don't know. I could do, let me go back to that document here. So let's say I want to do this one, oil. Okay, oil's running really well. Okay. So here I can go, well, basically do this uh, because that was OFI, I believe. This one, I believe. Let me just do that. And then as an example, okay. So then I got to get into where all my compiled, release, net, boom, there I am. Okay, so this is what I got to run right here. So in that case, I got to run um, strategy, OFI momentum, EXE. So that I believe is on NYMEX, CL. And just see if it's already preloaded here. No. So strategy. No. Okay, no problem. So I do believe it's NYMEX, CL. Let's say one contract and check every 5 minutes again. This should run. Let's see it. So there it's off and running, and I can run these at will. Okay. So you can see here, this is the current price. Um, and blah, blah, blah. And then there's some stats, and this checks every 5 minutes. So that's pretty well it. And I can run any of these client strategies here that I want. So that's pretty well everything as is. Now, as I said, we're going to be dealing with various different components running. So I'm going to build out an Electron app only for myself, and maybe make it available for those that want to get into the Quant Elite if they or their firm can afford it. And I'll also throw in the Electron, and that will enable people to execute uh, these different strategies as they become available, and then be able to configure what they want, the amount, how frequent they want to check. the market on that instrument, number of contracts, da da da. There's a lot of things I can add to this portfolio management. I can already do that with what I've shown you with the Streamlit apps. I could. There's all kinds of stuff I can already do with all this technology, especially on the AI front. Um, so all in all, I never originally envisioned this the way it's evolving, but it is becoming an overall complete system. And That's where we're at. And I'm just going to run this one more time with everything over the next couple of days. And if I'm comfortable with it, I'll be able to run live. And I said that before, but that was when high frequency, I started realizing the high frequency data is not going to be enough for me. That's why I have to slow down the trading and add in the custom time interval for each one that I want to run when I go live. So that's pretty well it. Hopefully you liked everything that you're seeing here. What I would recommend is if you want to get more knowledge on this, always like and subscribe on the YouTube channel itself. But if you want to know more, come to quantlabsnet.com. First step is get on my email list. Just learn. I give a free ebook on C++ infrastructure. If you want to try out my quant analytics, we have that as well. That's a 7-day trial for free. So you'll get access to some of what I'm posting here in one of the groups. More importantly, here, if you want to go one step further, and I'm not going to show you the plan here. It's the cost. If you want to go that level of the annual elite, the cost will shock you. But that again, that's geared to for high end trading firms or ultra net worth people as well. And I do have them in my groups now. So that's how everything's packaged up. Um, and I'm pretty excited on the future now. I think it's pretty close to where I want to get it and giving me all the flexibility in the world to move forward. But that's about it. As I said, like and subscribe on the YouTube wherever you are coming in from. But mostly, I'm going to be trying to bring everybody into the website as well. So there's that. One last thing I want to mention is, as you can see, I focus on futures and options. I do have a course right now for the advanced options and futures from a perspective of the institutional. If you're trying to get a job in this space, the high paying jobs in quant trading firms or hedge high frequency trading firms or just general finance, majority of them will be trading in futures and options. And if you're fairly weak in that, you would be advised strongly to take this course right here. This will go up as well, because that will give you a very lengthy and full, deep understanding of what's expected of you when you get into the space of these firms, and at the same time to trade options and futures, because that's where they mostly generate their income from. And the other thing is when there's these huge concerns of the markets, everything's going to decline and blah, 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 blah. Knowing futures and options is really good. With the new news items that I'm pulling out, it's very good at explaining pretty well almost every day now moving forward where all the big concerns are from the institutions and where they're going to move into. And the AI reveals that, for example, if everything's going bad, what I've said in my stream before, yes, the agriculture will become a big one when inflation kicks in, which will happen. Um, and again, you're able to participate that in futures and options, and on top of that, in an automated way, because you have the knowledge now. You can't do any of this comparative to like an ETF at all because you get full on data with the open interest and implied volatility. And believe me when I talk about implied volatility itself, this is going to make trading overall and investing overall very difficult. So again, knowing all that complete enchilada, you're pretty well saving yourself from the unpredictable volatility. And on top of that, with the futures and options, probably, and I've said this in my live stream before, the number one asset or instrument that will do very, very well is going to be a VIX, the measurement, the index of volatility in the futures market. And the only place to trade that is in futures and options. So again, there is uh, all the more reason to get into futures and options. And on top of that, automating it as well and being able to adjust as quickly as I've demonstrated here with the auto back testing and all on almost a daily basis. And it's pretty exciting to be able to get to this point. I'm going to leave that now. Lots to consider. But thanks for watching and have yourselves a good day.